Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kick It Into Sticks. So today we're talking about home canning and Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that's responsible for botulism toxins, which can cause difficulty breathing, swallowing, muscle paralysis, and in extreme cases, even death. However, this does not have to be as scary as it sounds, so stick around to learn more. First off, I'd like to thank Trish, who sparked the idea for this video. She alerted me to the fact that we did not use a form of acid to acidify our tomato juice, which she claims is required for water bath canning. First off, let's back up just a bit. I'm only laughing because my cat is just about to probably be in my camera frame here.
It's okay.
First off, let's back up just a bit because that is not completely true and could cause some to freak out. The first thought running through my mind was, "Everybody panic!" before I started asking questions and doing more research. The concern is about creating a pH balance below 4.6 for long-term storage of canned goods. Low-acid canned goods run a greater risk of producing botulism toxin if Clostridium botulinum bacteria is present. The United States Department of Agriculture states that most tomatoes have a natural pH lower than 4.6, but it's not by much. Therefore, the USDA recommends acidifying your juice with either bottled lemon juice, citric acid, or vinegar, regardless of whether you use water bath canning or pressure canning for processing. This gets very confusing, however, when sources such as the CDC and WHO state that pressure canning creates temperatures hot enough to destroy Clostridium botulinum, which is why pressure canning is the only method to be used for low-acid foods such as vegetables and meats to create a shelf-stable canned good. Anyway, to test the pH balance of our canned juice, I purchased a meter to test a batch of juice from this year and one from last year. Let's take a look at how that turned out. We've got a pH meter here and we're going to test the acidity level of our tomato juice and find out if it was safe for canning. Now, the tomato juice is at room temperature right now. We are sitting at a 4.31. So this tomato juice is safe for canning, and we don't have any added citric acid or lemon juice. We're just going to reset this by swishing it around in some distilled water. All right, so just for safety's sake, we are going to test a batch of tomato juice that was canned from last year, back in September, and we're going to see what the acidity level is of that particular tomato juice.
Just so the proof is there.
And we already cracked the seal on it just so that way we could get it open. So this one's hanging out right at about 4.49, so it's still below that 4.6 threshold, but it is flirting with the edge of what the USDA recommends. So, however, it is still acidic enough to be canned for a long-term storage. If you're interested in one of these pH meters, I will put a link down in the comments below. I got it on Amazon, and I'm not sponsored or endorsed by them at all, but this is what I bought. It was fairly inexpensive. I think I paid a little over $11 for it, and there was a coupon off on it that I was able to redeem, so I got it for a little bit cheaper. But it calibrated perfectly in the buffer solutions that I had to test it with, and I trust it. It measures down to an accuracy of plus or minus 100th. So that's plenty good. 4.6, we're only measuring out to tenths, so the fact that we were down to the hundredths and measuring at about 4.47 or 4.49 to 4.5, we're still under that 4.6 threshold, and I have no problems trusting this. Like I said, it worked out perfect in the buffer solution. So as you can see, the pH balance still tested safe for canning. And as a tip, not only will your juice be thicker with a lower chance for separation after canning, but simmering your juice before canning will also increase the acidity as you boil off more water. Adding salt before canning can also help reduce the likelihood of botulism toxins developing. Now, I can't tell you what's right or wrong, and I'm not going to try to tell you that you're doing your process wrong or right. I'm only giving you the information necessary to make your own choice. Therefore, I suggest with caution doing whatever canning process has been working for you. Just make sure it's a real process and practice safe food handling and safe food preparation. Now, if you do enough research and talk to enough people, you will find that some people acidify their juice and some do not. I recently even talked to one individual who does not water can or pressure cook their batches of canned food. They sterilize their jars in a hot oven, put placed the lids and rings in scalding hot water, and then they brought all of their contents to a boil before putting it into the jars. Once their contents were jarred, they put the lids and rings on and then turned the jars upside down for about 5 minutes and then turned them right side up, and they claimed that all of the lids would start popping and sealing. Now, I'm not going to say whether this is right or wrong, it's just that my point is if you talk to enough people, you will find that everyone does something a little different. Still, I recommend an approved process from an approved source. Now, if you're new to canning or you're just unsure, I strongly suggest that you follow the USDA approved canning recipes and procedures. Additionally, if you want to start canning for farmstead purposes and selling your goods to the public, I suggest researching the cottage food laws for your state and following all USDA recommendations just to be safe. Now, at this point, I would really like to hear what you do if you do any canning at home. What are your methods? Let me know down in the comments below. Do you acidify your juice before canning? And do you use water bath canning or do you use pressure canning? I've talked to about a dozen people and the response was equally split. Half use bottled lemon juice and half can their juice the same way that we do. Now, as mentioned earlier, according to the CDC and WHO, pressure canning can produce temperatures hot enough to destroy Clostridium botulinum bacteria. That's if any is present to begin with. Water canning, however, is not hot enough to kill the bacteria. But if you're using your juice for hot dishes like chili, stews, or soups, boiling your juice for 10 minutes plus 1 minute for every 1,000 feet that is 1,000 feet above sea level, that is enough to destroy the botulism toxin if any is produced in your canned juice. The toxin itself is what causes botulism, not the bacteria. Clostridium botulinum bacteria rarely causes any issues when consumed. If you drink your juice as a beverage, you'll want to use more caution and consider acidifying your juice. Most canned Bloody Mary mixes, for example, already include bottled lemon juice as an ingredient, so botulism toxin should not be a concern. Bottom line, whether you use instructions from a cookbook or follow USDA recommended recipes, use an approved process. It's not that difficult. And follow the directions. As you can see here, this is the cookbook canning process my parents have used for 40 years, and it was the process taught to me. This is the Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook made back in 1974 that my mom started with when she started canning. All it says is to add a half teaspoon of salt to each quart, bring to a boil, fill the jars with hot boiling juice, leaving a ½ inch of headspace, and adjust the lids and process in a water bath for 10 minutes for both pints and quarts. So there's nothing in there about adding any kind of a citric acid or lemon juice. However, this is before 1994 when that new rule came out by the USDA. And just to clarify the tightening of jar rings, for another tip, when you wash out your jars, make sure you wash them out with soap and water and then rinse them out thoroughly so there's no soap residue left, and then fill them back up with hot water and leave them filled with hot water until you're ready to put your juice inside. So after you've had your lids soaking in a nice hot water bath there, you just put them on top of your jars and you only fingertip tighten your rings. Don't get your hand on there and crank on it. Fingertip tight. That's it. Now my mom, she does use her whole hand, but that's only because her hand strength isn't that good, and even her tight, I can still tighten it down more with just my fingertips. And here's a fun little fact. Some people
I got a Botox injection today.
Purposely have botulism toxin injected into their bodies.
And then you got all your wrinkles are gone.
I hope you found all of this information helpful. Check out the links below for safe canning procedures, botulism case information, and information on the bacteria itself. Subscribe and come back to Kick It Into Sticks to see what we're up to next time. We'll see you in the next one. First off, I'd like to thank Trish, who sparked the idea for this video. She alerted me to the fact that we did not use
Snickers.
Snickers. Hey, get down. Get down. That's all you gotta do.
I don't want to lock her in the bedroom.
No, it's fine. She won't come back up here. I just scolded her. Additionally, if you want to start canning or farm and following all USDA